Hello friends, wizards, witches and muggles, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing really well. Today I thought we would do a little bit of a chatty catch-up video. It's been a while since we've caught up on everything, and I asked you over on my Instagram if you had any burning questions, things you wanted to know. So I have got them here on my phone today, and let me tell you, you asked quite a lot of questions. So let's get started. If you are brand new here, firstly, hello, welcome. Don't forget you can click the subscribe button if you would like to become part of our weird, magical online family. But let's go, because honestly, there's quite a lot of questions and I cannot wait to answer them. So I'm going to start off with a really lovely question, which I feel isn't asked that regularly in videos like this, which is, how are you doing? Like, for real, mentally and stuff. You know what? I'm doing really, really good lately, and I'm really happy. And a few months ago, I quote unquote graduated from therapy, so I felt like I got all that I needed out of it, which was really nice. And I got all my little tools in my brain. So yeah, I'm good. Life is good. I'm happy work things. I'm happy with friends and family things. I'm happy with personal life, love things as well. So yeah, I'm doing really well. Thank you very much for asking. And I am going to ask all you guys watching, how are you doing? Like, for real. Leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to answer some of those. Can you give us an update on your read books and TBR to be read so far, please? So this year, I started the year so strong when it came to reading, and I just devoured 7 books pretty quickly as well. I'm on my 8th book at the moment, which is the 3rd in the series of A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR. I just stopped. The last month or so has been super chaotic. I have not dedicated any reading time. I really need to get back on it because I really miss it, and that kind of quiet time, and it's just you time. So that's something I want to get back on. I really, really, really want to finish this series because it's so good. As for my to be read, check out my recent vlog that I did. I organized my bookshelf so you can see some of the books that are on my TBR, because that's pretty much what that bookcase is. It's my to be read bookcase. I needed to make it bigger, but yeah, I need to get back on it because I do have a reading goal of this year to get to 12 books, which is on average 1 a month. So I'm still on track. I've read 7. We're in July still. I need to get reading, so yeah. Do you have any travel plans for this year? I don't have anything that's planned in stone at the moment. I have just been to Cornwall. Go check out the vlog for that because that was such a fun little nostalgia trip. I really, really do want to get back over to Universal and Florida because that is my happy place. I don't think that's going to be this year though. I think I might try and go maybe early next year, maybe. And I still really want my beach holiday. How many videos am I going to say that in? I might try and book something for September maybe, when everything's a little bit more quiet. But currently, the short answer is no, I do not have any travel plans this year. What is your #1 tip for staying organized professionally and personally? I loved this question. So professionally, I have spoke about this before. In fact, I've received some DMs from you guys recently asking about it. So I have a piece of software online, which is called ZenKit. It's more a professional kind of like business project management rather than an everyday normal kind of consumer to-do list, but that's what I use professionally. But I do put my personal stuff on there too sometimes. As for personally how I stay organized, if you have an iPhone, I swear by Apple reminders, because you can set dates on there, you can set times, you can set things to remind you when you get to certain locations, but also things like Google Calendars. Can't live without it. Like, I remember back in the day, I never used Google Calendars. I used to print out little sheets of like a calendar and scribble things in, and then I'd lose them and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, make sure that you have some sort of cloud-based calendar, to-do list, also like the Notes app as well to stop forgetting things. But I have on my phone under reminders so many different categories that it's so hard to not be organized. Like, I've got a house to do, I've got a house to buy list, I have my food shop list, I have a to do today, I have an orders tab in case I've been shopping online and I'm waiting for things and I don't want to forget in case something gets lost. I have a packing list if I'm going away traveling, meal ideas and that kind of thing. Basically, anything you don't want to forget, make sure it's on your phone and it can remind you, because I feel like there's so many people that just have all of their thoughts and maybe appointments and stuff in their head, but it's so easy to forget. But if you've got things with their dates and the times in on Google Calendars and Apple Reminders or whatever the equivalent is, that's it. It's literally just writing stuff down, making lists, and keeping everything, all your ducks in a row. It sounds really simple, but I know a lot of people that don't organize like that, but cannot live without it. My brain feels very stressed and full if I don't. What are your top 3 plants that you want to add to the plant collection? If you haven't already seen my plant tour, go check that out. But I do actually have some wish list plants. I really want a fiddle leaf fig, I think they're called. They've got really beautiful leaves. They're very uniform. There's a picture of one here. I also want another Monstera Deliciosa, but I want the ones with white leaves. I think they're called variated or variegated. It's got a fancy name, but they are very rare because they don't naturally grow like that. They've been modified by humans basically, and I think like a cutting of those is like £100. And I mean, look at it. Very beautiful. Another one that I want, but I kind of have, because I found a piece on a garden centre floor, and I took it home with me. We've had this discussion before, but I took it home and I propagated it. I thought I killed it. I didn't think it liked living with me, so I put it outside. It turns out it's actually doing better outside than it was in my house, and I think it's down to the direct sunlight. Any fellow string of pearls plant folks, let me know. Does your string of pearls like direct sunlight? Is that the key? Because yeah, anyway, it's still on my wish list because I want one that's got all the millions of pearls, and they look amazing when they're like really full plants. Are you excited about the new Harry Potter series? I think so. I'm in two minds about this. I think I spoke about this on Instagram, but I feel like the original movie series isn't... I know that technically they're old now, but they still feel so relevant in our kind of era. Does that make sense? It doesn't feel like they're old hat yet, and I feel like we're still very much attached to like all the characters and like the actors and everything. So I think it's going to be weird, and especially having new actors in the roles that, you know, the characters that we all love and that kind of thing. But on the other hand, I'm kind of excited to see where it goes, what they do with it, because I have always said that if they did like an entire series, like a long series per book, how much detail we would get as fans, like how much more detail that we would get, because there's so much that they missed out of the books that weren't in the OG movies. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, but am I going to watch it when it comes out? 100% yes. This question was really good. So it says, where do you look and what do you think during your wand intro at the subscribe part? But also, I'm going to add a little bit to that question. I know you didn't ask, but so many people ask where I put my wand when I'm doing my intro. So I'm sat currently on a chair. It's got arms down here that you can't see. I'm on a cushion, and there is actually gaps between the chair and the cushion. So when I put my wand away, I'm just putting it down the armchair gap just to get it out of the way, because it's a lot easier than putting it on my desk and having it like roll around, for example. So yeah, everyone's always wondered that. So it goes there. As for where do I look, I tend to look in a straight line around this kind of Weasley shelf, because I know that that's approximately the height where we put the subscribe button, which is pretty cool. As to what I'm thinking, I'm just focusing on saying my intro. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a behind the scenes. But yes, I always know where to point, and also you guys are forgetting that I can actually see what I'm recording, because I have a mirror prompter in front of me, so I can currently see myself as I'm talking to you right now. But yeah, I can also see where the shelf is. So yeah, a little bit of behind the scenes magic. What have you learned from living on your own? I have learned that I do pretty well with my own company. It's something that I think I've always known, but I've always been a home bunny. Like, I love home. I love being around my own environment and that kind of thing. But living on my own, I like the peace, and I think it's really important to establish like a relationship with yourself, and I think I've really been able to do that over the past year and a half, which has always been on my bucket list ever since my housemates moved out a year and a half ago. I always said, right, this is a time that I want to live on my own, to experience things on my own, and to know that I can do life as a fully fledged adult, and, you know, all the things like taking the bins out and all that kind of stuff. Like, I can live as a fully fledged adult, and I can. I have proven that to myself, that I can survive without anybody's help, which is really nice. What other things have I learnt? I guess I've learnt that cleaning is something that I do actually really enjoy. I've always enjoyed it, but I think living on your own, when you can really deep clean, I've realised that I like to clean as almost some sort of therapy. It makes my brain feel very happy to have a clean environment. So I guess that's something I kind of knew, but I definitely learned over the last year and a half. But yeah, I have enjoyed living on my own, and I say enjoyed, we'll get onto that later because there's a question about it. How many questions about the new man in your life did you get? Quite a few. Only a small interest. Okay, I guess I should answer some questions about this. I knew you guys were going to ask questions about the mystery man in my life. I'm going to start with this one, which I have been asked a lot, which is, will you ever show your boyfriend? No, at least not for now. At least indefinite, like from now, my brain is like, I'm not going to show him indefinitely. I have a few reasons for this. One, boundaries. It's something I've never really had online. And I've spent most of my life online, let me tell you, and I've been an oversharer, and, you know, I've shared relationships in the past, and I've almost regretted it. And it's nothing to reflect on how I think it's gonna turn out or that kind of thing at all. I think at my age now, it's just got to the point where there are some things that I want to keep for me in my private life that I don't want to share with hundreds and thousands of other people. Like, I will share things that I'm comfortable with. Like, you heard his voice in the Cornwall vlog, go check that out. But yeah, I think his identity I'm gonna keep. It's not that I'm trying to hide it, it's just a boundary that I want in place. He's not someone that's on social media or that's used to being in the spotlight or that kind of thing. So I think for me personally, I'm more comfortable with that, but I think he is as well. Someone asked, do you live with your boyfriend? And the answer to that is yes, but that's only a very recent yes because he's just moved in, which is very exciting. I will say I have never lived with a partner before, so this is new territory for me, but I am enjoying it. It's really nice. And honestly, it's given me this newfound excitement for my home, which is really nice. Speaking of which, this rolls into this question, which is, will you be moving into the main bedroom now because of your new roommate? I love you. Love you too, thank you. Yes, so this is what I meant about like the newfound excitement. So when my housemates moved out a year and a half ago, I stayed in my room because that's where I felt safe. All my furniture is where I wanted it to be, and my bathroom opposite is just in a convenient place. And I always thought like the master bedroom here worked so nicely for the past year and a half as a guest room because it has an ensuite. So anytime like family, friends, or in some instances work people have come to stay here, they have their own kind of private room with an ensuite. So it's worked out really nicely. However, now that I have a man in my life and a man in my home, yes, we are going to be fully redesigning the master bedroom. I'm going to change the curtains, we're getting like a new bed, we're getting chest of drawers and rugs, and we're going to design it. We're going to pretty much what I did with the lounge here, and I've always considered that the only room that's really finished in my house to how I want it to be. I'm so excited to start a new project because I've just not felt the urge or the want to bother to do this room until now. And now I'm really excited about it, and it's nice because I get to do it with someone that I love, and it's just such a fun project and I cannot wait, and I'm very smiley and happy about it. Okay, the last few relationshipy questions. 1, does your boyfriend help with shooting your content, or will he now that you're moving in? No, he has got nothing to do with my work. I shoot all of my content myself unless we're out and about, and I still work with cameraman Chris. He's the only person that is involved in my job and he still edits for me, so no, my boyfriend will not be partaking in work. Other ones are, how do you feel being in a new relationship after being single for a while? Honestly, it's been an absolute joy. I have really got to know myself inside out being single over the last few years. I've been single since 2018, so 5 years, and I have grown to really love myself, not in a narcissistic way, but I know me. I know me so well. And I think it was really important to get to that point before getting into a relationship, because you know how they say, like, learn to love yourself, because how else are you meant to love someone else? I've done that, so I feel so ready, and it's been such a joy. It's felt very exciting. I've felt so happy, so all good. What is the one collector item that has still eluded you over the years? Okay, I think a lot of you guys are probably already gonna know the answer to this, because I have been lusting after the cursed necklace from Harry Potter. They used to sell it in Borgin and Burke's at Universal, and I have had collectors get in touch with me asking to buy it off them, and I've always said no, because they're like, we want £5,000, and I'm just like, I could buy a car for that much. But I just gave up, to the point I stopped searching for it. But recently I was gifted from a friend a copy of a replica of it, and this has filled my heart with joy. I don't know who makes these, by the way. I don't know where it's from. It doesn't say. But this is as close a replica than I need in my collection. So I'm probably not going to keep it in this display case, but this is a kind of similar replica of the actual one. Like, if you showed me this and said it was the real one, I'd probably believe you. But yes, I was gifted this from a friend, and it's absolutely stunning, and I love it so much. So yeah, that's probably the item that has eluded me over the years, and it has escaped my grasp. But I don't need the official one. I just wanted one to look pretty on my shelf. So I think I am going to get a little stand, like a necklace stand for it, and display it, even though it's got a display case. But I think that would look pretty cool, especially on like this shelf maybe, but we'll see. So yeah, that's probably the one item that I've just been like, ooh, lusting after for a very long time. Let me know what items you guys have been searching for, or what's on your ISO list you're in search of. Leave a comment down below and I'll have a little look at those. What are other book series on your to be read list? So obviously after I finished ACOTAR, I really want to read the Throne of Glass series. I also want to read A Crescent City, and I also want to read Fourth Wing, which I think is a series, but it's just they're not out yet. I have bought that. I know I said I was on a book buying ban, but I did buy a book. So yeah, those are like top of my list at the moment. But I have so many books just in general that I need to read, and I really need to get back on it, don't I? It's embarrassing how many books that I need to read. And then I have a kind of existential crisis about how many books there are in the world, and how short our lives are, and how we'll never be able to read all of the stories. I feel the same with music, as well as TV shows and films as well. There's just so much to consume, and there's like one brain and one life. Does anybody else freak out about this? Tips for cleaning and making a house smell amazing. I love that you asked me these questions. My boyfriend says that this house smells incredible, and it does. So I just love nice smells, and I pride myself on my house smelling good. So as for tips on cleaning, dedicate a day, like one of your weekend days, write a list of all the things that you need to do. Thing is, once you've really deep cleaned your house and organized, it's more a case of maintaining it rather than having to do it all the time. So like every weekend I will make sure everywhere's tidy, everything's put away. If I'm doing a deep clean, I will like hoover my sofa, and I will hoover or sweep all of the floors. I will also mop wooden floors, and if it's carpets, I have there's this stuff called Carpet Fresh, and it's like a foam that you spray onto your carpets and then you just leave it and it smells immense. Love reed diffusers. I love air fresheners. I really like the Airwick plugins as well, that you can get the little things that go in, and then you can change a dial of how strong you want the scents to be. I switch those up a lot as well, so I don't go nose blind. What else do I do to make my house smell nice? Candles, mainly in the autumn winter, to be fair. But yeah, honestly, if you're consistently like cleaning like this and doing laundry, your house is always going to smell nice. But I guess if you feel overwhelmed, one room at a time. Make sure you do one room at a time. Get it to a state where you're like, this is how I want it to be always, and then just keep resetting it to default every other week. I think on a deep clean day, It could take 5 or 6 hours for me personally to do my full house. And then when it's done, oh my God, you feel so good. There's nothing better than being in a home that has been deep cleaned. It's the one thing in life that makes me peak happiness. Is that sad? I feel like this is quite sad, but it's not an age thing either, because I have been like this for as long as I can remember. I remember cleaning as a child and as a teenager and constantly tidying my room. So I'm just weird. Has there ever been a moment where you felt like deleting your platforms? I've only ever felt like this with Twitter, and I'll be honest, I have erased every single tweet that I've ever done recently. I've not used Twitter since last November. I just decided to leave that platform, and it was the best decision that I've ever made for my brain. I was very much addicted to it, but also I didn't feel like it was a positive environment. I felt like it almost encouraged negative, kind of toxic, like argumentative, like debating behavior. I'm not that person. I'm not into it. And I thought to myself at the time, I was like, what am I actually getting out of Twitter? Like, is there anything positive here? Because I couldn't think of any. And that's why I left. So that's why I've not been on Twitter since November. I am on Threads. Newsflash, if you have Threads, please follow me. I love that app, and I really hope it's a success because it feels like a nicer place than Twitter. I hope it stays that way. If it doesn't, I'll probably leave there too. But for now, I'm really enjoying reading on there, and I am posting on there as well, and I hope to be posting more in the near future, so please go follow me over there. Cannot wait to chat with you guys. But as for all the other platforms, no, mainly because they are my livelihood. But no, I'm pretty addicted to social media. I don't think it's the healthiest thing in the world, but it is what I am, and you know what I'm saying. How have your 30s differed from your 20s so far? This is a good question. It's not something I think about that much, but I think the main difference for me is independence. Like, I moved out when I was 29. So most of my 20s, I still lived with my parents. So I was still kind of like in that family nest environment that felt very safe, very protected and like cushioned, and you know, I've always got that safe space to fall back on. And I think when you kind of leave that, life changes. I feel like I've grown up so much over the past 4 years. Like, I feel like a completely different person, if I'm being honest. I can't explain it, but independence for me has been big. I've also consciously made the effort of putting a lot of boundaries into my life, whether that comes down to friendships and stuff. Trying not to people please as much. I feel like that's something that's definitely been a theme throughout my life, people pleasing. And I think at my age now, like, I still have it there a little bit, but there is a part of me that's just like, I am me. If you don't like me, you can go on with your life. Same for things like, I remember back in the day where I didn't want to leave the house without makeup on or dressed a certain way because I was terrified of people looking at me like if I wasn't dressed right or something. It's like now I'm happily going to go down to Marks and Spencer's in my pajamas if I want to, or with my hair in a bun looking like, you know, like homegirl comfy, where you don't care what you look like. I will go out like that now and not care, because half of the people that, in fact more than half of the people that I see when I'm out and about, I'm never going to see again. I think that's such a good thing to think about. It's like, are these people going to see me again? No. And that's really comforting. But yeah, I think overall growing up, I feel like a bit of a grown up now that I'm in my 30s. Sort of. There are some days I don't, but overall, I feel like I've got my shit together. Will you ever travel around the world? I don't think I'll do like every country. As much as I love that idea, I don't have like unlimited time or money, but there are definitely parts of the world that I really want to go see. And I'm going to write a bucket list because I really want to go to Japan. I want to go to Canada. I want to go to Iceland, maybe even Australia. But the thought of that is so far, like the long flight weirds me out. There's other bits of America that I want to see. There's loads of Europe that I want to see. And I think I'm going to have to make a bucket list and try to tick 2 off a year over the next few years, because realistically, this is the age to do it for me, I think. How do you take care of yourself when life is really busy, and how can you relax? This is a great question, and I don't 100% have the answer for it yet, but trying to really schedule and dedicate downtime I have always had boundaries when it comes to work, which is finish work at like 7 p.m. at the latest so that I have my evenings, but I like to try and finish around 5 or 6. And weekends are a no work zone. So I always have my weekends, and that's kind of like the respite period. So I always know that I'm not going to overwork myself, which I definitely have in the past, and I've done burnout more times than you can think of. Like, I've been there, I've got the burnout t-shirt, I've got a whole collection of burnout t-shirts, and I don't really want to add to that collection anymore. So yeah, I think if you can schedule downtime, like I even put things like baths on my to-do list. It's like, schedule the time, make sure that you have you time, self-care time, time with your friends and your family. Like, you can't do it all at once. Nobody has like all that time, but you know, maybe one weekend I'll see family, the next one I'll see friends, the one after that I'll have completely off and ignore the entire world. So yeah, that's how I balance it. But also being very organized and scheduling everything tends to keep me in a very kind of normal, less chaotic life for myself. Was it super hot wearing robes in Orlando in Florida? Yeah, it was quite warm. I did go in hurricane season though, but yes, I didn't wear them all day, but I made sure to wear a short sleeve shirt. I had a skirt, I didn't have tights on. And to be fair though, I felt like the robe also, you could flap it and kind of make a breeze. And it almost felt like a bit of a shade kind of covering. Just don't stand out in the blaring sun in it a lot, because I definitely remember being hot when I stood by the night bus in the peak afternoon heat. But yeah, I had a backpack that I could put it in if I needed to, which I think I did at some point. But yeah, you gotta take the robes to Orlando if you want the pics. You gotta do it for the gram. This is probably one of my favorite questions, which is, honestly, I've always wondered where your fridge is. Probably an American thing to ask. Yes, Americans lose their mind when I show them where my fridge is. It's actually under my kitchen island. It's a small cabinet fridge, and I know that all the Americans watching are going to be like, where do you put your food? I have lived in that little fridge for 4 years now. It's the smallest fridge I've ever lived with, but I've lived here with 2 other housemates before, and all of us have managed to get our food in that fridge. It is a little bit annoying because it's lower down, and to be honest, I would love an American style fridge freezer that I can just open the doors and store as much stuff in as possible. But it does have its pros, it being that small, and that is, you try and, well, I say, if my best friend is watching this, right, she's going to roll her eyes. I was going to say it helps you waste less food, but I'm not sure it does because I lose some food in the back of it. But it's small enough not to overbuy food, which I think is good. And yeah, it's just something I'm used to. Like, I'm, as someone that's been living on their own for a year and a half as well, like, I don't need that much space in a fridge. Like, it's not a drinks fridge, so I don't leave drinks in there really. So it's just for food. And how much food does one person need? Or even 2 people? Do you want any pets to live with you? I'm going to end on this question. Yes, I do. And I know that I've always said I want to get a cat when I eventually live with someone else, or a boyfriend moves in or whatever. That has now happened. So I feel like it's green light to get a kitty cat, and I'm thinking maybe next year, 2024, might be the year of getting a little kitty cat, or maybe 2. We could get one each so that the cats are friends. Oh, yes. So I think I am seriously going to consider finally getting a kitty cat. I have really missed having a cat. Like, I've lived with one every single year of my life, and except the last year and a half. So yeah, I'm ready to have a cat in my life again, and I didn't think I'd miss it quite as much, but I didn't want the full responsibility on my own with a kitty cat. But yeah, it's gonna happen. I'm very excited. I'm gonna keep my eye out next year at shelters and that kind of thing. And if I can't find the right kitty cat for me, well, it'll happen at some point. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all of your questions. I hope you have enjoyed my answers to all of your questions. If you have any more questions that I can answer in the comments down below, be sure to leave them. I will reply to as many as possible. And hey, if you got this far in the video, don't forget to give it a magical thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and you're not subbed yet, so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I will see you very soon. Can't wait to answer more questions in the comments. But yeah, have a good day, guys, or night. I will see you soon. Bye! I do want a kitty cat.